Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Me Plus 3, because it's a Me Plus 3 lifestyle. So guess what? October is Down Syndrome Awareness Month. Woo, woo, woo. Go Aiden, yeah. So in the month of October, I will be giving you guys some information and education, not only on Down syndrome, but as well as Aiden and his history as well. I've been excited because I've been waiting to do this. So what I'm going to do, post a video every 3 days. Why 3? I'm going to get to that. But so today is the 4th, then the 7th, moving on, you know. But I picked every 3 days because trisomy 21, aka Down syndrome, is when you have 3 chromosome 21s. So just slow it down, break it down. You know, we all have 23 pairs of chromosomes, total of 46. Well, in Down syndrome, chromosomes 1 through 23. So when you get to the 21st chromosome, people with Down syndrome have 3 of them. And so that is what causes the developmental and intellectual delays. So I know you're wondering who came up with this name, where did it come from, how did they find what? So I'm so glad you asked. Let me tell you. So it was first described from a man named John Langdon Down. He was a British physician, and it was first described in 1866. Of course, so he was the one who described his first features, and his last name is Down. And the syndrome came because syndrome means a collection of signs and symptoms usually found in a combination. So Down syndrome, that's where you got it from. So there are 3 different types of Down syndrome. But to be clear, Down syndrome is Down syndrome. There's no mild feature of it or high. It's just Down syndrome. I understand that autism has different spectrums, high, moderate, but Down syndrome is just Down syndrome. So there are 3 different types. We have 1, trisomy 21, which I already said. That's 3 chromosome 21s. Then that makes up 95% of people with Down syndrome. So that's the most common one, trisomy 21. And then you have translocation. So translocation accounts for about 4%, and what that is basically when the 3rd copy of chromosome 21 attaches to another chromosome. So mosaic is the last one, the 3rd type of Down syndrome, and it makes up 1%, and that's when the chromosome 21 takes place in one. But not all of the initial cell division after fertilization. And that is when, so sometimes some people can have 46 or 47 chromosomes. I got tested around between like 10 and 13 weeks. I can't remember exactly when. The chorionic villus sampling test, and that's basically when they test you for Down syndrome, any genetic issues. So the test came back positive for signs of Down syndrome. So I was like, people will say, they always say that. So they wanted me to go to a specialist. So I went to a maternal fetal specialist at Northside, and long story short, I went there 3 different visits. They checked every part of his body. They didn't see anything. They told me that everything looked okay. And so I'm like, okay, everything is fine. So after they told me everything was fine, I'm just, moving on within my pregnancy. I had to do this whole history thing. Nobody in my family has Down syndrome that I know of, mom or dad's side. So I'm the first one, like I said, that I know of. I've reached out to my great grandma. She said she doesn't know anyone. Because, I just wanted to just reach out and see if there's anybody, else. But I'm excited that I was been the first one, because God knew what he was doing when he blessed me with him. So that's the history of Down syndrome and when I was pregnant. I hope you learned something about the background of Down syndrome. And of course, you should know that it wasn't accepted for a while, not accepted, but to the point where they were institutionalized because they weren't normal. So Yeah, but hope you learned something today. I will be posting more on the 7th. Every 3 days, check me out. I will be also posting some Did You Know facts at the end. Some of the posts that I post will be things that I've said as well, but it's always good to just post a Did You Know. And so post some comments in the comment section so that if there's any question, and I'm open to whatever question. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm open. And post and like, subscribe, and share, and just follow us through this October Down Syndrome Awareness Month. Aiden started walking a month after he turned 2. It was like when heaven came home, he just started walking everywhere. Always say people with Down syndrome, or that person with Down syndrome, not a Down syndrome person. Everybody with Down syndrome are not the same, but they have the same diagnosis. I don't care what the statistic says, God has the last say so.